Welcome to the only football podcast on one of the most incredible days of the year. The speculating is over. The schedule has fully been released. There's no more mysteries, leaks, rumors, etc. We have all the answers. I will say we were right about a couple. We said that the Lions were going to open against the Chiefs. We nailed that one. We also got that Giants Cowboys game on Sunday night right. Cheers to Bill. And that was kind of the extent of it. As I mentioned in the previous episodes, the NFL did a better job of keeping the schedule on. I'd say they kept the cards close to the chest. It was not floating out there. Normally, there's a lot of leaks leading up to it. There wasn't that many, and everyone in the media had to sign that non-disclosure that they wouldn't give out the schedule. And that did not stop the boys from, I want to say Bleacher Report, but the Packers' entire schedule got leaked today before the schedule actually was released by the NFL. So that, I guess at that point in the day, it's like, what are you gonna do? You know, you gonna say that it's not true? Because I did think that some of the games got changed when Donna Kelsey, Travis Kelsey's mom, leaked some stuff, but a couple hours before the official leak, you can't change anything at that point. And I will start with the first game of the year, which will be the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to go through week one. And this game is going to be at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be on NBC. It is in Arrowhead. The Super Bowl defending champions will most likely do that ring ceremony. The last time Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff faced off, a memorable fireworks display exploded. The NFL hopes to get a similar shootout with Mahomes' Super Bowl champion Chiefs taking on Goff's upstart Lions. So this is a big game for the Lions. They've, even I would say in the past, they haven't been good at starting fast. Last year, it wasn't until around week 9, week 10 that they really got it going. And you really felt like the Lions were a team that you wouldn't want to play, but it was too little too late, just by a couple games. So what are the new Lions going to be? Are they going to start off? Because there has been a lot of scenarios where the Lions have done what feels like enough to win a game, but some external force is against them and they end up losing. Like you think of the shootout the Lions had against Seattle, 45-48. You think about the year before that, Justin Tucker kicking that 66-yard field goal, however far it was. It's just like, what does God, the football gods, have against the Lions? Well, this is the type of game where the Lions could play a very good game, get into a shootout, and the Chiefs could end up winning. And it would be very disheartening for the Lions because it would just be like, oh, here we go again. The competition's getting, tougher each year, and we're getting better, but it doesn't show in the win-loss column. So I'm excited for this game to see the Lions, give the Chiefs their best shot. On paper, the Lions have a really good football team. They ended the year on a really high note, and the Chiefs, they can't have any type of Super Bowl hangover when this game kicks off. And I expect the veterans of that team, the Travis Kelce's, the Patrick Mahomes, to be ready for Detroit's best shot. And I'm excited for this game. Now, who would have known 2 years ago that the Lions would be worthy of opening the season? And I really like this decision on the NFL's part to put the Lions in the primetime spotlight because I do think the way they ended the last season, they have become the team that America is rooting for. And I would probably imagine that most people will be cheering for the Lions during this game. So a hell of a game to get this whole thing started off. And then we'll hit those 1 p.m. games. You're going to have Bryce Young's first career start is going to be against a divisional rival, the Atlanta Falcons. So this will also be our first look at how Arthur Smith is going to use Bijan Robinson in his offense. I was excited for this game when I made a short about I would say like a couple days after the last day of the draft about first round picks that are going to meet up next year. One of them was Bryce Young playing Bijan Robinson. The other one was Bijan Robinson and CJ Stroud. So we'll see when that game is later in this podcast. Next, we have the Houston Texans at Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are their over-under is pretty high. I believe it's at 10.5, and for good reason. They win most of their games that Lamar Jackson starts, and Lamar will be as healthy as he's been in some time, and he's been paid. So now he's really got to go out there and perform. Odell Beckham is on the team now. They got Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman. The new Ravens offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, has the pass catchers to unleash Lamar Jackson's full potential. And a lot of people still believe Lamar Jackson's not worth the money. He's a running quarterback. He runs first, then throws. Well, now he has no excuse. He's got a bunch of weapons, and we're going to find out. Because as we know, sometimes you put the perfect scenario on paper, but when it's game time, the players just aren't meshing. They're not on the same page. How much will these receivers build a rapport with Lamar Jackson before this game kicks off? And we'll find out. And for the Houston Texans, a team that had the second best draft, most people will agree, behind the Eagles. What a first game for them. I mean, you talk about a lot of new stuff. DeMeco Ryans, CJ Stroud, Will Anderson Jr. I mean, this team has a whole new identity. They're going in an entirely new direction. But this was not very friendly of the NFL to throw them straight into an away game versus the Ravens, who, the Ravens always have a pretty decent home field advantage. The Ravens will probably be one of the biggest favorites on DraftKings or wherever you do your online gambling, if that's your thing. I think the Ravens will probably be 8.5-point favorites, somewhere around there. The next game, Cincinnati Bengals at Cleveland Browns. We're going to get a lot of rivalry games in the week one. It's just like week 17. This game is going to be in Cleveland. The Bengals are another team that I believe, when I look at that roster, I think I'll see them in the AFC Championship game, probably against the Chiefs again. And it's just the roster is just too damn good to think that they won't be there. Joe Burrow is also 3-1 against Mahomes. So I just think the Bengals have what it takes to get to that game. But their first game is going to be against Cleveland. Deshaun Watson, very lackluster end of the season. He hadn't played in like 2 years when he finally was allowed to play week 12. So is Deshaun Watson going to get back into the swing of things? A lot of people expect him to, and this is going to be a big test. The Bengals had a really good draft defensively. They got Michigan's cornerback, Turner the second. They got Battle, the safety from Alabama. They got another defensive end, Myles Murphy, who fell from Clemson. So the Bengals got a lot better on defense. Offensively, they added Orlando Brown to an offensive line that they already revamped. So Cleveland's going to have their hands full, and we're going to see if Deshaun Watson is able to overcome. but it will be a home game for Cleveland, so they'll have that home field advantage going for them. Next, we have Jacksonville at Indianapolis. Not sure if Anthony Richardson is going to start right out of the gate, but one thing most people are expecting is Trevor Lawrence to take another step, and now Calvin Ridley's coming back. I think Calvin Ridley is going to be massive for the Jaguars offense, and I do expect Jacksonville to be one of the best offenses in the league this year. And that's going to be a big test for the Indianapolis defense. The Colts are at home. I'm not saying that levels the playing field by any means, but I will say one thing I already like about week one is that in a lot of cases, the better team is on the road. And that just, I would say, adds, it used to be 7 points for the home team. I'm not sure if it's that many points, but it does help kind of balance the scale to have these lesser teams at home. But that's going to be a big game for Indianapolis and also Jacksonville. Tampa Bay at Minnesota Vikings. So here you go. This is one of those games that is not a divisional rival. The Minnesota Vikings added, what's his name? Filed the lawsuit. I can't remember his name right now. Came from the Patriots. He was the head coach for the Dolphins. Filed the lawsuit because they asked him to tank. It's gone. Anyway, Minnesota added him as their defensive coordinator, and Minnesota won 12 games last year. And they won 12 games. And the craziest thing about Minnesota is that they actually ended the season with a negative 3-point differential. And they're the only team to win 12 games with a negative point differential. So Minnesota did seem like the most average 12-win team that I've ever seen. Okay. So I expect them to pull back. Their schedule's a little more tough, but Tampa Bay is also a team that made it into the playoffs by default. It was nobody in that division was good enough to, be in the playoffs, but somebody had to go. So Tampa, but now they got Baker Mayfield. I don't know if things are resolved at the linebacker position with Devin White. He requested to be traded because he wanted a contract. I would say Minnesota would be, my favorite to win this just because they're at home and they still can get some stuff done on offense. But I don't expect either of these teams to win more than 10 games. The NFC North is up for grabs for the first time in a long time. When you think about who's going to win the North, some people have Chicago as a potential worst to first. Some people are like, hey, Minnesota won 12 games. You can't just rule them out. Now they got a better defense. And then Detroit obviously is a lot of everyone's darling. So, and then the Green Bay Packers still have a lot of talent on that team. We just don't know how Jordan Love is. So this week one, I'm going to be really intrigued in every game that goes on in the NFC North, specifically. And then we're still in the 1 p.m. slot, Tennessee at New Orleans. So this is a pretty good matchup. Derek Carr is going to open up his Saints career in the Superdome, which is pretty cool. If Michael Thomas is healthy, New Orleans could come out of the gate firing. New Orleans has been favored to win. I think it was at 9.5 games. A lot of people are pretty high on New Orleans. You could make an argument that people shouldn't be that high on New Orleans. And then at the same time, Tennessee, a Tennessee team that was a first seed in the playoffs 2 years ago. And, they had winning ways for the last 3 years. And then they get depleted with injuries last year. They're just one season removed from being a real contender. And we're all just kind of like, They are who we thought they were. And we forget about Tennessee. I'm going to kind of start a movement to not forget about Tennessee, because Tennessee is going to be healthy. And I really think that Mike Vrabel is a really solid coach. When I look at Tennessee at New Orleans, I think this is a great matchup because you have two teams that are not bad, but they could be bad, but they could also be good, right? I would say Tennessee and New Orleans are in this kind of similar category of each other, where you almost have to watch this game to see how these teams are going to be this year, because there is a lot of unanswered questions and feelings about these two teams. Chris Olave was solid last year, but now they got Derek Carr throwing the ball, no more Andy Dalton. It's just being solid at the quarterback position is very important. Mickey Loomis is a great GM for the Saints. So there's a lot to see. And then we'll see if Derrick Henry remains in Tennessee to start the season. We've heard the rumors and stuff like that. But if Derrick Henry is going to be there, this is a game that obviously it's going to be hard to watch all these at the same time. But this is definitely one worth watching. And still in the 1 p.m. window, we got two more games in the 1 p.m. window. San Francisco at Pittsburgh. So the 49ers are going to play the Eagles this year. And the 49ers are probably glad that they don't have to open up against Philly. But they're still going to be traveling to Pennsylvania week 1 to play the Steelers. So I think if Brock Purdy is going to be ready to start the season, San Francisco should have one of the best records in the NFC. They should be able to, beat up on their opponents. You know what the craziest stat is for the day? San Francisco is such a physical, dominating team. The teams that played San Francisco the next week were 0-17. So if you're playing San Francisco, according to last year, you're going to lose the next week because your team will be beat up, you'll be injured, you won't be fully recovered. Isn't that a hell of a thing? I mean, 0-17 for the teams that played San Francisco the week before. So this is going to be a tough game. And when you think of a tough football, historically, a team that was tough, you think of Pittsburgh. I mean, they're pretty much the team that started the player safety initiative. You think about that team with Polamalu and, Porter, Joey Porter, the original. Now they got his son. But yeah, this is going to be a tough football game, but impossible to make any type of prediction until we figure out who's going to be starting at quarterback. But the Steelers had a really great draft. They improved the offensive linemen. They got Broderick Jones, and it's going to be a tough test immediately with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead and the rest of those 49ers. And then we got the Arizona Cardinals at Commanders. Honestly, I don't really care. If you're a Cardinals or a Commanders fan, I'm sorry, but you're a bad team when week 1 there's no excitement. I mean, everybody should be excited about week 1, but Arizona at Commanders, pass. Give me a different game. How about Green Bay at Chicago entering that 425 slot of games? So we talked about it. NFC North is going to be up for grabs. And we're going to have the Chicago Bears at home, Soldier Field. Green Bay, this is going to be the first time Jordan Love takes the field. I personally would have liked more if Jordan Love was going to be at home for his first game, just because I feel like that moment would have been really special of him running out Lambeau Field to take his first start besides the COVID year, like first real start as the Green Bay Packers quarterback. And I think it is fitting that it's against the Bears. I just wish it was in Green Bay. But regardless, it's going to be a great game. This is one of the all-time sports rivalries. The NFL loves this game, and this game has always been good for football. Actually, when you look at teams that win the Super Bowl, they're supposed to open the season. The Chiefs opened the season against the Lions because they won the Super Bowl. The year before that, the Rams opened the season playing the Bills because they won the Super Bowl. The year before that, you had Tampa Bay open up the season playing Dallas because Tampa won the Super Bowl. And then, interesting, the year before that, the Patriots beat the Rams in the most boring Super Bowl of my lifetime. And the NFL, I guess the people just had enough because neither the Patriots or the Rams opened up the season the following year. It was actually the Green Bay Packers versus Chicago Bears. So, for what it's worth, it just shows you, how much the people love Packers Bears, where they would just be like, you know what, this year we're not going to even play the Patriots or the Rams. We're just going to go Packers Bears. And then another rivalry, personally my favorite, you have the Denver Broncos at the Las Vegas Raiders. And Sean Payton's going to kick off his time in Denver with a home game against Jimmy Garoppolo's Raiders. And how is Russell Wilson going to look in his new offense? The last year was kind of a glitch in the matrix. It didn't really make sense. A lot of people are pretty confident that it was Nathaniel Hackett, but it's easy to blame Russell Wilson, especially when he's being very cringy. He's a super cringy person. So when you're cringy and you suck on the field, it's just more fun to blame the quarterback. But we did see once Nathaniel Hackett got fired, Russell Wilson looked a lot better, even though it was just an interim head coach. Well, Sean Payton is the ultimate offensive coach, and I think he's going to put Russell Wilson in the right situations. Whether Russ likes it or not, he has to play a certain style of football, a style that will work and that is suited to him. He wanted to be something else last year, and it didn't work out. Sean Payton's the kind of guy to knock down, all those hopes and dreams and tell him, this is what we're going to do. And I think it's going to work. Sean Payton, his first season with the Saints, they went from the worst team in the NFL to the NFC Championship game. Sean Payton is one of the greatest head coaches of all time, but they're going to have to prove it. And I'm really happy that this game is going to be at home in front of our fans. And if there's one team that we hate, it's the Chiefs and the Raiders. So the Raiders coming to Denver, I love it. We get to open the season. Last year, we opened the season on the road playing Seattle. This year, we get to be at home. Hopefully, you get a dub against the Raiders because the next week we play the Commanders. Hopefully, that's 2 dubs because then we go to Miami for a tough game. But if we could go to Miami with 2 wins, you're feeling pretty good about yourself in that situation. So that's what I'm hoping for, is that we get these first 2 wins. Speaking of those Miami Dolphins, they're going to be in Los Angeles playing the Chargers for the first game. SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, 4:25. Miami Dolphins against the Chargers. This is going to be probably one of the most fun matchups. When you think of offense, you think of Miami, and you definitely think of Justin Herbert, who's been the first quarterback to throw for like 5,000 yards in his first 3 seasons. Justin Herbert, and a lot of people debate whether he's a top 5 quarterback. He is a top 5 quarterback, I would say. But we're also living in a time where it feels like there's 10 top 5 quarterbacks. But Justin Herbert's a great one. Tua will be healthy. And we're going to get Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnson, the receiver they drafted from TCU. He does have some work to do with his body. He's a big receiver, 6'3", but he's not very physical. He lets the ball come to him. He doesn't really get it at its highest point. He's kind of passive. So we'll see if he can get that stuff coached out of him before this week 1. But this is going to be a really fun and challenging game for both ball clubs. This is definitely one to circle. I'm surprised they didn't put this in a primetime slot. The Philadelphia Eagles at Patriots. This is a rematch of Super Bowl, what was that, 2004? Donovan McNabb and T.O. So the Patriots are going to honor Tom Brady in the home opener against the club that beat them in the Super Bowl. How delicious is that? This is going to be a measuring stick game for the home team. How will Mac Jones look in Bill O'Brien's offense, particularly facing one of the best defensive lines in the NFL? Will Jalen Hurts get an MVP campaign off to a blazing start against Bill Belichick's defense in Foxborough? This is going to be a fun game. Philadelphia Eagles at New England Patriots, just one of those games that always has a ring to it. You hear it, you just want to watch it. And this is a huge, huge test for New England, especially in a division where you are the odd man out. Miami, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers, and Buffalo are kind of in this competition with amongst each other. Nobody's talking about the Patriots. If you want them to talk to you, how about you beat the Philadelphia Eagles week 1? That's going to be a fun game. And then we move on to Seattle, Lumen Field. They're going to host their week 1 matchup, just like last year, and I was at that game. But this time they're going to play the Rams. And look, Sean McVay kind of talked about retiring, but from all the Rams fans I've talked to, he didn't want to retire and leave the Rams, in the state they were in. They did sell their soul to get one Super Bowl, but you saw last year some of it was starting to catch up to them. Seattle drafted Devin Witherspoon, the best corner in the draft, and JSN, the best wide receiver in the draft. And then obviously they still have Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. Geno Smith has a new contract. Everyone's feeling pretty good in Seattle, and the Rams are looking to get last season taste out of their mouth. Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp will be back on the field. Aaron Donald will be a monster as usual. This is a divisional rival, so this will be a good one. Then we move on to Sunday Night Football. We have the Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Giants made the playoffs last season. We always say the NFC least. Well, last year it was the NFC beast. I mean, every team in the NFC, even the Commanders at one point in the season, were competing for the playoffs. And I couldn't believe it. Dallas has swept the series against the Giants since 2020. I heard that earlier today. I forgot to write it in my notes, but it's been a while since the Giants have beaten Big Blue. So they're going to be at home. It'll be a good time to kind of display on a national stage some of the people that they brought in, like Deonte Banks, Darren Waller, Daniel Jones has that new contract, Saquon Barkley. There's one or two things that can happen. The Giants pretty much surprised everybody last season. The real question is, do the Giants build off of their success last year, or are they going to pull back? A lot of people are predicting that they pull back. Well, they did add more talent, so I don't think that is. I almost feel like sometimes we just hey, they weren't supposed to be good, so this year they're not going to be good. You got to give me a better reason than that. Okay, obviously, Dabble is a good coach. Daniel Jones is playing good football. Saquon Barkley, he was a menace. He got back to his elite form, and now they added talent on that team. You're going to have to come up with a better answer than they weren't supposed to be good. Um, if anything, I expect the Cowboys to pull back. So this will be a fun game. We'll see if the Giants can get that taste out of their mouth of not beating the Cowboys in the last 4 or 5 matchups. And then our Monday night football game, no double header. And usually the NFL does a double header. So I was a little surprised that they didn't. But last year they didn't do a double header as well. And I guess this is the new thing. I'm not sure. But this is the Buffalo Bills at the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers is going to have his first game in a New York Jets uniform at home in front of that New York fan base against the Buffalo Bills, a team that is going to be angry about how last season ended. This is definitely Monday Night Football worthy. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I don't really know what to expect. I think that's what makes it so much fun. And that's kind of how a lot of week 1 is. But we also, even more so with this game, we've never seen Aaron Rodgers play on another team. I mean, this is going to be a blast. And you just kind of feel that if they can beat the Bills at home, it almost sets the tone that this is a 13-4 football team. Whereas if they lose against the Bills, you feel like maybe they're a 10-7 football team. So I'm excited to see who sets the tone in this game. They did mention that the Bills defense could be without Von Miller to open the season. So I think that would hurt a little bit. But Garrett Wilson is probably going to be Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. So we'll see how the chemistry is between them. And it should be a lot of fun to watch. And now I'm going to just go here. I'm going to fly through these other games for week 2. Got the Thursday night game. This will be on Prime Video. Minnesota Vikings at Eagles. So the Eagles, 2 very winnable games to start the season. You got the Patriots and then the Vikings. I think the Eagles definitely go 2-0. Then you got Packers at Falcons. Okay, that's a good matchup for the Packers. And we'll see how the Falcons are. A lot of people predicting the Falcons to be better than most people would think. Then you got the Raiders at Buffalo. So I'll tell you right now, if the Raiders lose to Denver, that's bad news Bears, because it's kind of like the rich get richer, because if the Broncos win, they're playing the Commanders. If the Raiders lose, they're moving on to the Bills. So you don't want to be in that situation. Then you got Ravens, Bengals. Let's talk some division rival. This one's in Cincinnati. Then you got Seahawks, Lions, a rematch of the game last year. I think it was week 4, week 5. That was a hell of a game. One of my favorite games of the season last year. So looking forward to that. This one's going to be in Detroit. I believe last year it was also in Detroit. Then you got Colts at Houston. That we'll see if Anthony Richardson and Bryce Young start. Then you got Chiefs at Jacksonville. Low key, a very, very, very exciting game for me personally. I felt like Jacksonville had so many opportunities to beat the Chiefs in the divisional round, and they just weren't ready for that moment. There was a drop pass that would have been a touchdown, like a 40-yard bomb that just went right through the hands. the fumble on the goal line. The Jags just shot themselves in the foot. And I bet you they are so excited to go out here and prove that they can beat the Chiefs. And for Detroit, if they off the bat knock off this Chiefs team, uh, I in one way it's like you don't want to play an angry Chiefs team week 2, but I do think Jacksonville's going to be a hard team in their own right. This might be the hardest 2-game stretch for any team. The Chiefs are going to have their work cut out for them week 1 and week 2. Two teams that would have been a total joke 3 years ago. And now we circle them and go, watch out. Pretty cool. Then you got Bears, Tampa. That should be a game that I don't watch. Sorry, Rick. And then you have the Chargers and Titans. I like it. New York Giants at Arizona. I'm not really interested in any Cardinals games personally. 49ers at Rams. Okay. New York Giants or New York Jets at Cowboys. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be fun. And then Commanders at Broncos. If you're a Broncos fan, that's the only reason you'd be interested in this game. Dolphins at Patriots. So the Patriots, they're going to have their work cut out for them too. You got the Eagles, and then you're going to the good thing is the Patriots start their first 2 games at home. This is Sunday Night Football, Dolphins at Patriots. And then you get the double header on Monday Night Football. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I don't like this. The double header has both the games playing at the same time. You have the Saints at Panthers, and then only 1 hour later, another game kicks off, Browns at Steelers. This was the first year that the networks could bid to buy a game. And if you buy a game, you can play it whenever you want. So I don't know if we're going to start seeing some of this, but not a fan. I like when the doubleheader is 3.5 hours apart. So one ends and you roll right into the next one. I feel like this is really stupid, whoever set this up, because now people are going to pick. You're losing 50% of your audience. But in any way, Saints, Panthers, and Browns, Steelers, I guess they're, none of those games are like must watch. I mean, of course, if you're an NFL nerd like me, you're going to watch them. But for the average guy out there, I would rather see the Jets in the Cowboys in that slot, especially the Chiefs and Jags. But that's my game of the week for week 2, Chiefs, Jaguars. Week 3, Thursday Night Football, we have the Giants at 49ers. It's going to be a tough game. Very, very challenging. It's going to be at Candlestick Field. Then you got Colts at Ravens. Then Titans at Browns. Falcons at Lions. Saints at Packers. Texans at Jags. Broncos at Dolphins. This can be a tough game, but if Denver takes care of the Raiders and Commanders, they're going to feel pretty good about themselves going into Miami. But Miami is going to be hot as a nutsack in this climate that they have. The away team has it like 30 degrees hotter than the home team because of the way they built that stadium. That's going to be a tough game. Then you got the Chargers at Vikings. That should be a good game. Then the Patriots at Jets. Good football. Patriots, man, getting just kind of destroyed in these games. Did they have like one of the hardest first 3 games or what? Good Lord. They're not even at home for this one. They're at home the first 2, but This is going to be a tough 3-game stretch for the Pats. Then you got Bills at Commanders, blowout. Panthers at Seahawks, probably Seahawks. Cowboys at Cardinals, Cowboys. Bears at Chiefs, Chiefs. Steelers at Raiders. Who knows? That's Sunday Night Football. Then you got Eagles at Tampa for Monday night. What is this? Another doubleheader on week 3 as well? What the hell is going on? And they're doing the same thing where the game is 1 hour apart. What? It's so dumb. Why are we doing this? And then the Rams at Bengals. Why are they doing that? Okay, week 4. I'm not against the doubleheader, but space them out. Thursday night, week 4, Lions at Packers. Falcons at Jags. Calvin Ridley revenge game. Dolphins at Bills. Vikings at Panthers. Broncos at Bears. Ravens at Browns. Steelers at Texans. Rams at Colts. Bucks at Saints. Commanders at Eagles. Bengals at Titans. Raiders at Chargers. Patriots at Cowboys. And Cardinals at 49ers. And then at the Sunday night slot, this is going to be a good Sunday night game right here. Chiefs at Jets. So Aaron Rodgers is going to have his work cut out for him to start the season. And then Monday night, finally, the doubleheader thing's over. And you get Seahawks at Giants. So the Giants in that primetime spot again. These are two teams that are pretty equal. The Seahawks and Giants both made the playoffs. They both had, decent drafts. So I'm excited to see this game, see who kind of pulls away. If one of those teams is able to win by, 10 or more points, that'll be really helpful knowing where these guys are at. Then you got a typical gross Thursday night football game, Bears at Commanders. I think this Thursday night game happened last year, and it was probably one of the worst Thursday night games. I think it ended with the Bears. It was like a last second touchdown, but the ball hit the ground or something like that. It did have an exciting ending, but this is the Thursday night. We all know Bears at Commanders. Then Jaguars at Bills. That's going to be a good game. This one is going to be in London. So, and the week before that, Jacksonville is going to be in London too, I believe. So Jacksonville is in London 2 weeks in a row. But for scheduling purposes, this one is going to be at Buffalo on paper. Then you got Texans at Falcons. And then we go to Panthers at Lions, Titans at Colts, Giants at Dolphins, Saints at Pats, Ravens at Steelers, divisional rival, Bengals at Cardinals. The Cardinals might go 1-15 this year. Eagles at Rams, Jets at Broncos. This is a sneaky revenge game for Nathaniel Hackett. Not to mention that Aaron Rodgers was supposed to go to Denver 2 years ago, and that's why they brought in Nathaniel Hackett. And now Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers together on the Jets, playing the team that just fired him, 14 games into the season. Chiefs at Vikings. Cowboys at Niners. This is going to be a good game. This is a rematch. NFC divisional round. Excited for this one. And then Packers at Raiders. A game that will always remind me of the Monday night game that Brett Favre played after his dad died. That should be fun. Week 6. We got Broncos at Chiefs. Chiefs have won 13, 12 games in a row. I stopped counting because it's not good for my mental health. But the Broncos, this is their first chance to beat the Chiefs. It's going to be in Arrowhead on Thursday night in front of the whole world. And this is probably the toughest game this far besides the Dolphins game. So we will be all patiently waiting for this game, October 12th. Then we got Ravens at Titans. This is an international game. Then we got Commanders, Falcons, Vikings, Bears, Seahawks, Bengals. That's going to be a good game. 49ers, Browns, Saints, Texans, Colts, Jags, Panthers, Dolphins, Lions, Bucks. This is going to be a good parlay week. I feel like I know who's going to win most of these games right now. Give me the Saints over the Texans, the Jags over the Colts, the Dolphins over the Panthers, the Lions over the Bucks, and then Pats Raiders. You got the Josh McDaniels revenge game. We saw this game last year with the infamous lateral that was terrible. It was Ramondre Stevenson lateraled it one time, and then the wide receiver threw it, and then it went to a Raiders defender, and then he stiff-armed Mac Jones like a little kid and scored. And that game should have went to overtime. Cardinals, Rams, Eagles, Jets. That should be fun. Jets have a hard-ass schedule, man. And then Giants, Bills. That's going to be good. That's Sunday Night Football. Then you got Cowboys, Chargers. This is going to be a revenge game. The offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, Moore. I'm blanking on his first name. But offensive coordinator left, and he's now the Chargers offensive coordinator. So that should be a fun revenge game to watch Monday night. Week 7, we got Jags at Saints, Lions, Ravens. The Jags Saints game's Thursday night. Raiders at Bears, Browns at Colts, Bills at Patriots, Commanders at Giants, Falcons at Bucks, Steelers at Rams, Cardinals at Seahawks, Packers at Broncos. I get to see this game every 4 years. This is my favorite game the Broncos ever play because I grew up in Wisconsin. My family's all Packer fans. I actually like the Packers. And obviously, this is the Super Bowl in '98 rematch. And this game is amazing. I actually have a hat from that Super Bowl with the Packers logo on one side and the Broncos on this side. Super excited for that game. I'm going to go to that one in person. Chargers at Chiefs, Dolphins at Eagles. That's some good stuff right there. It's Sunday night. And then 49ers at Vikings. Week 8, Thursday night, we got Bucks at Bills. Then Sunday, Texans at Panthers. Now, this is the CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. Rather, it's Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud, or at CJ Stroud. Rams at Cowboys, Vikings at Packers, Saints at Colts, Patriots at Dolphins, Jets at Giants, Jags. Man, the Giants got a tough schedule too, it seems like. But the Jets definitely do. Jags at Steelers, that'll be fun. That's the wild card game that David Garrard won. I think that was 2009. And that game always reminds me of that game. Falcons at Titans, Eagles, Commanders, Browns, Seahawks, Ravens, Cardinals, Chiefs at Broncos. So Broncos played the Chiefs twice in 3 weeks. No bye week in there. Bengals at 49ers. Let me get that game on the TV. Bears at Chargers, Sunday Night Football. And then Raiders at Lions, Monday night. Week 9. Titans at Steelers. Dolphins at Chiefs Sunday. This one is going to be in Germany. This is the Tyreek Hill revenge game. So he's already said, he's going to torch the Chiefs, and Ladarius Sneed, the cornerback that will be responsible for covering him, has talked back. So this game is already being hyped up, a Week 9 game. So I'm excited for that one, and it's going to be in Germany, so it'll be 6:30 on the West Coast, 9:30 on the East Coast, and 8:30 if you're in Central Time, and 7:30 if you're in Mountain Time. Then we got Vikings, Falcons, Seahawks, Ravens, Cardinals, Browns, Rams at Packers, Bucks at Texans, Commanders at Patriots, Bears at Saints, Colts at Panthers, Giants at Raiders, Cowboys at Eagles. That should be fun. Bills at Bengals. That's a good game. Last time these guys met up, it was Monday Night Football. Playoff implications, and unfortunately the game had to be canceled because of the unfortunate circumstances that took place. And then Chargers at Jets. So that's going to be a good Monday night game too. Sunday night, Monday night, Week 9, circle it. That's going to be 2 fantastic games. I mean, even the Cowboys-Eagles, Week 9 is going to be a goodie. I'm looking forward to Week 9. And then this is where the Broncos, Lions, Jags, and Niners have a bye week. Week 10. Panthers at Bears. Prime Video. Then we got the Colts at Patriots. This game will be in Germany. Browns at Ravens. Texans at Bengals. Niners at Jags. I want to watch that game. Saints at Vikings. Packers at Steelers. Titans at Bucks. Falcons at Cardinals. Lions at Chargers. That should be cool. Giants at Cowboys again. Commanders at Seahawks. Jets at Raiders is going to be the Sunday night game. So Jets getting plenty of primetime action. And my Broncos, Monday night, playing at Buffalo. Broncos at Bills. I like it. A lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to see my team play, the Chiefs and the Bills. And I'm like, I do. I want to know who we are. And there's only one way to figure it out. It's to play games like that. Thursday night, Bengals at Ravens. That should be good. Then on the Sunday morning games, we got Cowboys, Panthers, Steelers, Browns, Bears, Lions, Chargers, Packers, Cardinals, and the Texans, Titans, Jaguars, Raiders, Dolphins, Giants, Commanders, Bucks at Niners, Jets at Bills, Seahawks at Rams, Vikings at Broncos Monday night. So they go from Monday Night Football to Sunday Night Football. And then the Monday night game that we all have been waiting for, the Eagles at Chiefs. Woo! Super Bowl rematch. This is that time of year where we will know we're at week 11, right? There might even be snow on the ground in Kansas City by November 20th. This is a Super Bowl rematch. We're going to see who wins that one, but I'm telling you right now, my money's on the Eagles, but that should be a hell of a game. So, yeah, Travis Kelce, your mom was wrong. Donna Kelce, that game wasn't week 2. She lied to all of us. Then we got Thursday. This is Thanksgiving. So here's your Thanksgiving games. That's going to be Aaron Johnson in the chat said that's going to be the game. That is going to be the game. Yes, it is going to be the game. Then on the Thanksgiving slot, we got Packers at Lions. So Green Bay, first time that they've been playing on Thanksgiving in quite some time. Commanders at Cowboys. Cowboys and Lions always on Thanksgiving. And then the random game, Niners at Seahawks. So Seattle hosting a game, a divisional game. Seahawks went 0-3 last year playing the 49ers, and they'll be looking to get at least one win. We'll see if they can do it on Thanksgiving. Then the first Black Friday game ever. It's going to be Dolphins at Jets. And this game is actually going to be at 12 p.m. on West Coast time. So 3 p.m. East Coast time. And that should be a good one. Then to our early morning games, Saints, Falcons, Steelers, Bengals, Jacksonville at Texans, Bucks at Colts, Patriots at Giants, Panthers at Titans. Then the 4 p.m. slot, we got Rams at Cardinals, Browns at Broncos, Chiefs at Raiders, divisional rival game right there. Then Bills at Eagles, that should be a really good game. Ravens at Chargers, that looks like a great future wild card round game right there. And then Bears at Vikings, which doesn't jump off the page at you, but this is week 12. And we said the NFC North is up for grabs. Well, this is going to be the time of year where Bears at Vikings may be a really important game for the NFC North. Then with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks left in the season, we move on to the last game in November, and it's Seattle at Cowboys Thursday night, playing at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. Then Sunday, we are in December now. Chargers at Patriots, Lions at Saints, Falcons at Jets, Cardinals at Steelers, Panthers at Bucks. Not a ton of games that look, super interesting there. Then Colts at Titans, Dolphins at Commanders, Broncos at Texans. This might be my least favorite week, but there are a couple of goodies here. Then we got Browns at Rams. I wasn't talking about that one. 49ers at Eagles. There it is, your NFC Championship rematch. Late enough in the season where Brock Purdy should be on the field, and we get to see who is, who would have won that game. Obviously, we can't live in the past, but this is the first time that we're going to see the 49ers with Brock Purdy without a broken elbow play the Eagles, and it is in Philly. So then Sunday Night Football, Chiefs at Packers. I love it. The very first Super Bowl ever. Chiefs at Packers. And then Monday night, Bengals at Jags. I think this is going to be important for seeding purposes. And then Aaron said, who's winning, Bears or Vikings? Probably the Vikings, I would say. I need to see something from the Bears, but this is late in the season, so I'll definitely be having probably a lot of different opinions at this point in the season. Thursday night, Patriots at Steelers, and that should be a pretty good game. In 2004 to 2010, this would be in a playoff game, no doubt. But let's see if the Steelers can make that next jump with Kenny Pickett under center, Mac Jones. These might be two teams that are still fighting for the wild card spot at this point in the season. Then Bucks, Falcons, Rams, Ravens, Lions, Bears, another NFC North game. These are going to be important. Colts, Bengals, Jaguars, Browns, Panthers, Saints. I think the Saints have a lot of easy games this year. Texans, Jets, Vikings, Raiders, Seahawks, 49ers. So there's the second one. Bills at Chiefs. That's going to be a good game. Bills at Chiefs. Broncos at Chargers. Eagles at Cowboys. And then we get a double header. You got to be kidding me, man. They're playing two games at the same time. Titans at Dolphins, Packers at Giants. Why would they play two games at the same time? Who is the genius that came up with this idea? Gosh. Then we move on to week 15, getting closer to playoffs. Chargers at Raiders, AFC West showdown. Then Bucks at Packers, the NFC Championship rematch from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Then Jets at Dolphins, Giants at Saints. I think that Jets at Dolphins game is going to be important. Then Texans at Titans, 49ers at Cardinals, Commanders at Rams, Cowboys at Bills. That'll be a good one. Eagles at Seahawks, Ravens at Jaguars. That'll be important. That's going to be on Monday night. And then Chiefs at Patriots. And then these are the games that aren't scheduled yet. I'm not sure why. Maybe they'll flex them. But you have the Broncos at Lions, the Steelers at Colts, Bears and Browns, Vikings, Bengals, and Falcons, Panthers. None of those have been scheduled yet. And with 3 weeks left in the season, the games get very important around this time. You got Thursday Night Football, Saints at Rams. Then Saturday, December 23rd, you have two games. Bengals at Steelers, Bills at Chargers. Then we have Christmas Eve football on Sunday. Colts at Falcons, Packers at Panthers, Browns at Texans, Lions at Vikings, Commanders at Jets, Seahawks at Titans, Jaguars at Bucks, Cardinals at Bears, Cowboys at Dolphins, Patriots at Broncos, playing on Sunday Night Football, NFL Network. Then Monday, Christmas football, Raiders at Chiefs, Giants at Eagles, Ravens at Niners. So some good Christmas football games this year and some good Christmas Eve football as well. Then week 17, right? Everyone's fighting for seeding right here. And the way the NFL set it up is that the teams that normally would be resting have too important of games to be sitting anybody. So Thursday, you have Jets, Browns. Then Saturday, we have Lions and Cowboys, the two teams that always play on Thanksgiving, playing each other on Saturday, December 30th. Then we go to New Year's Eve, which also falls on a Sunday. Dolphins, Patriots, or Dolphins, Ravens, Patriots, Bills, Falcons, Bears, Titans, Texans, Raiders, Colts, Panthers, Jaguars, Rams, Giants, Cardinals, Eagles, Saints, Bucks, Niners, Commanders, Steelers, Seahawks, Chargers, Broncos, and then here we go. Bengals at Chiefs. Surprised that didn't make Monday night or Sunday night football over the Packers and Vikings. But yeah, we'll see if that gets flexed because Bengals Chiefs, That's got to be Sunday night, right? But then we go into the final week, none of which have been scheduled. They're all TBD, but we know who is playing who. The Seahawks will play the Cardinals. That should be one more win if they're on the outside looking in. That'll be the win they need. Steelers, Ravens. That's probably going to be an important game for both parties. If you think about it, the Steelers and the Ravens are the two teams fighting for, second place, most likely with the Bengals in first. Then the Bucks and the Panthers, Browns, Bengals, Vikings and Lions, Bears and Packers. So the Bears and Packers play week 1 and then week 18. They start the season and they end the season playing each other. Texans, Colts, Chiefs and Chargers, Broncos and Raiders. The entire AFC West is playing each other, along with the entire AFC North playing each other. And let's see. Then we got the Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots. The entire AFC East is playing each other. Falcons and Saints, Bucks and it's always the divisional matchups week 18, but I can't remember if there's ever been a couple games that are not divisional, but they set it up where every single team is playing a rivalry game. That should help clear up all the seeding issues. Because let's say two teams had 8 wins and they were playing other teams that could both end up with 9. Instead, you make everyone play each other, and naturally there's going to be separation in each division. So Jets, Patriots, Falcons, Saints, Eagles, Giants, Rams, 49ers, Jaguars, Titans, Cowboys, Commanders. Interesting that they chose Cowboys, Commanders. I would have thought Bills, Dolphins would have been better for the Sunday night slot. Even Chiefs and the Chargers. Hell, I would have taken the Steelers, Ravens over the Commanders. But that is the NFL schedule, and I'm super pumped. I think this is going to be an amazing year. I think out of all the weeks, week 1 is the one that really stands out to me. Week 1's going to be a blast, and then I think week 9 was the other week. Yeah, where there's some good football in week 9 as well, with the Chargers, Jets, the Bills, and the Bengals, the Cowboys and the Eagles, the Giants and the Raiders. You have the Dolphins and the Chiefs, the Seahawks and the Ravens. Week 9 is a good week too. I would say if I had to rank them, I would take week 1 as my favorite week. You go down the list and there's just so many good games taking place on week 1. So that is your NFL 2023 schedule. If you guys have a specific team that you want me to go through and predict the wins and losses for that team, I'd be more than happy to do that for you guys. And until, let's see, today's Thursday, so we'll definitely be going live one more time before our Monday episode. So I'll just use all the comments and stuff like that to have another episode where I use your specific team. As always, thank you guys for tuning into this podcast to find your favorite team's schedule. And I will see you guys on the next stream. Shout out, Bill. I hope your Giants have a great season. A lot of challenging games, but also a lot of primetime games that will be streaming live here on this channel. I'm excited to see if the Lions are going to be able to be the real deal this year. I'm excited to see who's going to be the team chosen for Hard Knocks, the HBO series that I absolutely love. I'm excited to see if Broncos and Sean Payton can really get off to the right start and get going. I'm excited to see if the Jets are going to be able to handle the tough task of playing a really difficult schedule and how the Bills respond to their defeat last season. If the Eagles are going to just keep on running through everybody, if the 49ers and Brock Purdy are, the clear favorites to win the Super Bowl, probably if the first 5 weeks of the season are anything like Brock Purdy's the last 5 games of the season. A lot to be figured out, a lot to be discovered. We're going through a journey together. Today was a big day to start it off, and we're just going to keep on going from here. So, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'll see you next time. And until then, go Broncos. See ya.